Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another book haul. I had actually gone camping with some family members this past weekend, but since there was a moment where we kind of got to do whatever we wanted, a small group of us went into town to go check out some of the bookstores in the area. And we stopped at, I think, around 4 bookstores. We stopped at one independent bookstore they had in town, one used bookstore, but I don't think we bought anything out of the used bookstore. We stopped at a Christian bookstore, and then we made a stop at Target and Walmart and looked at the books there. But yes, the first book that I'm going to show you guys I've actually bought from Target, and that is My Plain Jane by Cynthia Hind, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is a story of, I believe it is a Jane Eyre retelling. I'm not sure if it's a modern retelling, but by the cover, the fashion makes it think that's not a modern retelling, but it might be. I actually enjoyed the movies of Jane Eyre, and I would actually like to read the actual Jane Eyre at some point. I've read your sister's book, but not yours, Charlotte Bronte. Alright, the second book that I actually bought from Target was actually a children's book, and this one I've actually looked at a couple of times, and this was the time I decided to pick it up, and that is The Girl Who Drank the Moon. And this is a story about, this girl who lives in a village, and this village, in order to appease this witch that lives in a forest, they sacrifice one of their babies to this witch to make sure that she doesn't have any reason to come and attack them or anything. But actually, this witch is actually misunderstood. She's not a cruel witch at all. She actually takes these children that are abandoned in the forest, she takes them to the other side of this forest to another village where they can raise these abandoned babies. While trying to get these kids to the village, usually she feeds these kids starlight as nourishment. But by mistake, she feeds one of the children she feeds moonlight. Moonlight is almost the source of basically magic in this world. And so instead of taking the child to the village, knowing that she's going to have these magical abilities, she raises the child herself. And the child who ends up being called Luna. And now we also have another story going on with this young boy who decides he wants to take on this witch and is probably going to run into Luna and her adopted mother. The next book that I actually got at the independent bookstore we have over in Alexandria, and this is a book I didn't think I would ever pick up, but by recommendation by my brother's girlfriend, I decided I would actually give this book a chance. And also the fact that there's a Netflix movie coming out for this book, I decided to give To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. And this is basically about a young girl named Laura Jean. Laura Jean, in order to get over a crush, usually she will write a letter that pours out like all her feelings that she would feel for this person that she feels she could never share with any of these guys. But by some odd happenstance, all these letters are sent out to these boys. And now there's all these embarrassing things that she would never have confessed aloud to them. And that creates drama. I've heard that this story is pure fluff, and I know once in a while you kind of need something fluffy, and this book looks like it'll be short enough that it'll just be something just fun to read. The next book is another one I got from Cherryville Books, but that is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This has also been talked about quite a bit on BookTube. Story is about these two girls that go to this once-a-year celebration called Caraval, and apparently it's kind of a game where the audience gets involved. But our main character realizes that the big appeal to the game this year is that her sister is taken from her, and whoever finds her first is the winner of the game. I've heard this book is kind of a love it or hate it kind of thing, and I'll see which side I'm gonna be on. I'm always interested to see where I will side on these kind of debates. And plus I kind of want to pick up the sequel if I do like this book. Alright, the next book, and that is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This book is about a young boy named Simon who is hiding in the closet, and one of his classmates finds out that he is gay and blackmails him, and he has to, and also on the side we have this love story between Simon and this guy that he's trading emails back and forth with named Blue. Surprised how many contemporaries I've actually gotten, but the one thing I'm afraid of, with this book is I'm afraid that it's going to be very overhyped. We'll see if I'm going to like this book or if I'm not going to. So the other book that I got from Cherryville was The Diviners by Liva Bray. I know very little about this book, but I know a lot of people have said that they have actually really liked this book. All I know is that it takes place in like the late 1920s, and this girl has psychic abilities that may or may not be able to help her with finding a serial killer. We'll see. I've heard a lot of people say that this book is very scary. I don't read a lot of horror books. Not really because I avoid them, but it's just a lot of the horror books don't pique my interest. We'll see if this one does. My Walmart purchase was the last two books of The Darkest Minds, or at least the last of the Darkest Minds trilogy and the bonus book. I was hoping to find Never Fade, and I've lost my copy of The Darkest Minds in between because I brought it with me camping and I think I left it at the cabin. So I'm gonna probably have to buy another copy. Yeah, I'm hoping to at least read the first book before the movie, or before I go see the movie. Alright, and at long last, I finally have the sequel to Star Wars Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn. And this is the Barnes & Noble version. So the Barnes & Noble version also comes with the poster. This is just the cover put in poster form. And it also has a picture of Padme Amidala. If you've read a little bit of Thrawn, of the first book, Thrawn does talk about the fact that he did meet Anakin Skywalker during the Clone Wars. And now it's going to involve Thrawn and Darth Vader working together. And it will probably be very interesting to see because I think they have to work in Outer Rim worlds, and they're still supposed to be protecting the secrets of the Death Star, and I think that it'll be interesting to see these two kind of go against each other. I mean, the fact that I want to see if Thrawn will be able to figure out who Darth Vader's real identity is. Because, I mean, in one of the books, apparently Tarkin figured it out really quickly. And I want to see if Thrawn can figure it out. Thrawn's better than that. But yes, I'm very excited to read this. I've been waiting to get my hands on it. It's been this past weekend. It was taunting me. I had to wait for it. Just got here today. So it had been taunting me seeing it on Walmart and Target shelves. And I wanted it for myself. The last book I also have been talking about a little bit on this channel, but I think, and that is To Kill a Farm Boy by Jalila S. Dawson and Kevin Hearn. I would try and tell you what this book is about, but I think if I just let the book tell you what it's about. Let me get my narrator voice on. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, a hero, the chosen one, was born. And so begins every fairy tale ever told. This is not that fairy tale. There is a chosen one, but he is unlike anyone who has ever been chosen. And there is a faraway kingdom, but you have never been to a magical world quite like the land of Pell. There a plucky farm boy will find more than he's bargained for on his quest to awaken the sleeping princess in her cursed tower. First, there's the Dark Lord, who wishes for the boy's untimely death, and also very fine cheese. Then there's a bard without a song in her heart, but with a very adorable and fuzzy tail. An assassin who fears not the night, but is terrified of chickens. And a mighty fighter who's more frightened of her sword than of her chainmail bikini. This journey will lead to sinister umlauts, a trash-talking goat, the dread necromancer Steve, and a strange and wondrous journey to the most peculiar happily ever after that ever once upon a timed. This sounds like this will be a glorious and fun book, and this is the first of a series, and if I do like this book, I would like to read some of Terry Pratchett's books. Quite a few people made comparisons of this book to Terry Pratchett's books, and I'm excited to read this book, so. Okay, and that was my book haul. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye.